Hi, I'm Lena. I'm 38 now, and for most of my life, I've been the supporting character in my own family. And I want to tell you how that finally changed during a Thanksgiving dinner that nobody will forget. Let me take you back to a little town outside of Manchester, England, a quiet place called Hartley. My childhood started off fairly average. My parents weren't overly affectionate, but they were around. Mom helped with schoolwork. Dad took me fishing sometimes at Windermere. It was all right, until it wasn't. I was 8 when everything shifted. One night, Aunt Moira shook me awake at 2 a.m., told me to pack a bag, said Mom was in hospital, something about the baby coming early. I didn't even know the baby was close. That night, my little sister Eliza arrived 2 months premature. And from that point forward, the world revolved around her. Hospitals, specialists, hand sanitizer everywhere. Our home became a sterile lab. Mom scrubbed everything with hospital-grade disinfectant. The smell of bleach still haunts me. The worst part? Any time I so much as sniffled, I was sent off. Grandma Doris's house, Aunt Moira's, it didn't matter. One sneeze, and I was gone. At first, I didn't mind. Grandma made the best Victoria sponge cake. But after a while, I realized I wasn't being protected. I was being quarantined. Because apparently, my existence was a health risk to their precious Eliza. I tried so hard to win them back. Straight A's, ignored. Won the science fair? Dad asked me to stash the project board in the shed because Eliza might be allergic to dust. I didn't even know that was a thing. When I was 12, I taught myself to play bridge over troubled water for the school talent show, rehearsed for months. The night of the performance, Eliza had a slight fever. Mom stayed home with her. No one came. 2 weeks later, the whole family, including relatives I didn't even know we had, showed up to hear Eliza butcher Twinkle Twinkle on a recorder. It lasted 10 minutes. They brought balloons. Eliza got smarter with age. By 7, she'd learned to fake sick to get out of school, chores, even arguments. I watched her master the art of manipulation while I faded further into the background. I stopped trying. I found peace in old books, art history, antiques, things no one else in my family cared about. My room became my haven, mostly because Eliza claimed she was allergic to my lavender oil diffuser. Fine, stay out. Grandma Doris was the only one who really saw me. She let me sort through her vintage brooches and costume jewelry, said I had a good eye. That's when the first spark lit. But even then, the narrative was set. Eliza needed more. Lena's just independent. Lena doesn't mind. Lena understands. I didn't. I was a child who just wanted to be loved the same way. High school became my escape route. While Eliza starred in every school play, I built a life outside our home, joined debate club, worked at a little cafe called Maggie's, read textbooks on economics and history in the back room. No one noticed. When I got a perfect score on my A-levels, I told Mom during dinner. Her response? "That's lovely, darling. Eliza's got a maths exam tomorrow. Could you keep your voice down?" Eliza rolled her eyes. Some of us actually have to study, you know. That night, Eliza's C+ in English got printed and stuck to the fridge. My UCAS applications, I did them all myself. Applied to every top school in the UK and a few in the States. I didn't tell anyone. And when I got full ride offers to Oxford, Yale, Edinburgh, I kept quiet, hid the letters under my bed. I ended up choosing the University of Edinburgh. Quiet city, brilliant program, and most importantly, far from home. The day I left, my parents couldn't even drive me. Eliza had a cheerleading showcase. Aunt Moira took me instead. She handed me a small envelope as I unpacked. She said, "From your gran. She saved it for you." Inside was 400 pounds, all saved from her pension. University was freedom. Ramen dinners, late-night lectures, total anonymity. I graduated top of the class. Started as a junior researcher at a high-end antique firm in Glasgow. I was cataloging estate items. Nothing glamorous, but I loved it. Then came the breakthrough. An estate came in. A wealthy widow who'd collected costume jewelry. But one brooch felt off. The weight, the craftsmanship, it wasn't fake. I spent days researching. Finally realized it was an original Boucheron piece from the 1920s. It sold for 38,000 pounds. From there, my life changed. I built a reputation, got promoted, started freelancing for collectors, took gemology courses at night, opened my own office above a noodle shop. It stunk of soy sauce, the Wi-Fi was rubbish, but it was mine. Within 5 years, I'd grown into a company. We had clients in London, Paris, Geneva, quiet, discreet, wealthy people who didn't want their heirlooms on display, but needed to know what they had. I kept everything from my family. Let them believe I still worked in that little shop with the old brooches. They thought I was poor but noble, helping out with what I could. Truth is, I was sending them 5,000 pounds a month, anonymously. Claimed I was surviving on cheap noodles. They believed it. Eliza, started bragging about how she must have inspired me to be so generous. She went to Ibiza that summer with my money. The final straw came when Mom rang me in tears. "Eliza wants to get her MBA at St. Margaret's. It's very prestigious, but we just can't afford it. Could you maybe—" I upped the payment to 6,000 pounds a month. That same month, I gave a guest lecture at St. Margaret's, the very place Eliza wanted to attend. I was the successful businesswoman she'd one day quote in her essays. And now, Thanksgiving. We don't really celebrate it in the UK, but my parents always liked an excuse for a big meal. So there we were, 20 people crammed around a rented table in their flat. I'd catered the entire thing from an elite chef service I use for client events. Mom thought I'd found a deal online. Eliza complained about the stuffing. I slipped into my old room to check on an auction in Hong Kong. A rare Van Cleef and Arpels piece was up for bid. Eliza barged in looking for a charger and saw my screen. My client portal, banking dashboard, business tabs. Everything. She went pale. Then she grabbed the laptop and ran into the dining room. "Everyone," she yelled, "let's see what our humble Lena is really up to." She flipped it around. Silence. Total, eerie silence. Account balance, 9.4 million pounds. Pending transaction, 950,000 pounds. Recent commission, 312,000 pounds. Eliza turned white. She's rich," she stammered. Mom laughed. "Don't be ridiculous. Lena works at a shop." I stood up. "No, Mom. I own a company. One of the biggest jewelry authentication firms in the UK. Offices in 3 cities. That shop authenticates pieces worth more than your entire building." Forks dropped. Glasses clinked. Dad choked on his wine. Mom's laugh turned into fury. "You've been sitting on millions while we struggled? Eliza's in debt." I replied, "And I've sent you thousands every month. Quietly, kindly. Because despite everything, I didn't want you to suffer." But not once did they say, "Well done." Not once did they ask how I did it. They just demanded more. And that's the story of how my family found out I was rich and decided they deserved it more than me. Some people say success is the best revenge. I say peace is, because that was the last family dinner I ever attended.